Welcome to the Rhode Island Wave Spotlight Series. I'm your host, Scott Nerney. We're coming from the lovely Cowesett Inn. I strongly suggest the salads and the burgers, or they have general entrees as well. Everything here is good. Tonight, we have our special guest, Joy Fox, running for Congress. Welcome to the Spotlight Series.
Thanks for having me, Scott, and I agree. The menu here is fabulous.
Great. Why don't you give us a little background besides Joy Fox for Congress? Let's talk a little bit about Joy Fox herself.
Thank you. Sure. So like you, I love Rhode Island and have spent my career rolling up my sleeves and jumping in and tackling big challenges. I grew up in Cranston. I live in Warwick now, and I worked for Congressman Langevin and Gina Raimondo and traveled all over the district and the state working for them. I started my career in community newspapers, the Cranston Herald, the Warwick Beacon, a little bit of Providence Business News and Channel 10. I worked in government service, not only for the Congressman and Governor Raimondo, but also I started actually at the Rhode Island Department of Corrections working for A.T. Wall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then from there, after my time in government service, I now run a small business. I run a small strategic communications firm. My parents still live in the house that we all grew up in. I'm the oldest of 5. I'm the proud aunt of 2 nephews and a niece. We still are over at my parents' house many a night for dinner, especially Sunday dinner. And, my dad also has Alzheimer's, so that's something that our family is also dealing with. And I know that there are a lot of probably families listening right now who are going through their own challenges with loved ones. My mom is his primary caregiver. And we'd be lost without the Cranston Adult Day Center. That gives my mom a little bit of respite and helps him out a couple times a week. So that's a little bit about me. And, as a lifelong Rhode Islander, this is something that I believe strongly in this campaign. I believe in the power of government to do good things for people. So I'm ready to dive in, like with everything that I've done, and tackle the challenges.
So you feel that your talents coming up through local government, from the corrections side and running a business, you feel that would be best used in Washington?
Yeah, I think I bring a unique set of qualifications that give me a different perspective in this role. From having deep roots here, which comes deep understanding of the challenges we face, but spending that time, as you do every week here, telling stories. Campaigns are often a lot about the challenges and the things that are broken, but
Sure.
I think there's a tremendous amount of good happening here in Rhode Island and the district, and I'd like to bring those stories to DC as well, to show where Rhode Island is a leader and punching above its weight, and that more people should come to our state and experience it the way we do, and for all the reasons that we love it. So yes, I do think I bring a unique set of qualifications. It's probably not lost on everyone that if I'm successful, I'd be the first Democratic woman to represent Rhode Island in Congress. And that it also comes with a unique set of perspectives and qualifications as well.
And you mentioned Congressman Langevin, who's retiring. He chose to endorse a different person. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm tremendously proud of the time that I spent working on Congressman Langevin's team and doing work for the people of the 2nd District. One area where it differed greatly with the congressman is on abortion. I believe I'm pro-choice. I believe abortion is health care. And I believe that's another reason why we need to send the first Democratic woman to Congress. And with all due respect to the congressman, I also think if we want to change the way Washington works, we need to change the kind of people that we send there. We don't need someone who grew up with a trust fund or can lend their campaigns hundreds of thousands of dollars. What I bring is different. I went to Rhode Island College. I have to work. I work for a living. I'm working while campaigning here too. And I do think my deep roots here, plus all of those things together, make me uniquely qualified to do a lot of good for the people of the 2nd District.
Okay. And when you're taking a look at Washington and how it operates, because you've seen a fair bit of that,
Yeah.
what do you feel committees are that you think you could most benefit when you're in Washington?
Yeah, it's a good question. Probably energy and commerce. I think from an issue standpoint, all roads lead back to the economy. I think this economy will be in transition for a very long time. So
Sure.
how are we preparing Rhode Islanders to participate in that economy? That's everything from affordable health care, quality education, tackling climate change, and workforce development, making sure that there are paid workforce development opportunities, and also looking at things that worked during the pandemic, like paid leave. We need permanent paid leave in this country, and we need to do, as I mentioned earlier, my family is going through a caregiving situation at the moment, and more families need to have access to the ability to keep their loved ones home if they want to. So what are we doing for our families and family caregivers as well?
Yeah, we had Nina on from Skills RI recently, the
Oh
local
yeah, yeah,
nonprofit,
yeah. She
and
does good, that tremendous work there. Yeah,
they do.
yeah,
And I think there's some models that we do in Rhode Island
yes,
that you could take with you to
exactly.
Washington.
And you're making the point. There's so much good happening here. And when I worked with Governor Raimondo and on that team, we did a lot for workforce development. Not only Skills Rhode Island, which I think is the name of Nina's,
Yep.
or Skills for RI,
Yep.
and Real Jobs Rhode Island. You know, and I'm out talking to folks, and even in my own business, come across examples often of Real Jobs Rhode Island really having an impact. It is about, for folks that don't know what that is, it's about bringing the employer to the table and really working with them on what needs they'll have to grow their business, and making sure that we are training the workforce to be able to participate in those jobs. So it's exciting, and it is working.
And your linkage to Gina Raimondo, who's now in Washington and Commerce Secretary, that should give you a little more inroads when you're in Congress, that you have a friend there and someone you can lean on.
Yeah, you're right. She is a friend, and I'm lucky too. My career has been so varied that I have friends in the White House, I have friends on Capitol Hill, and I have friends just working in and around government in Washington. So all of those things, plus the qualifications and perspective that I talked about earlier, I think I can hit the ground running in a unique way that my opponents can't, for not having that varied experience. I've worked in every job that my opponents have either wanted to hold or held. So I've worked in a treasury, I've worked in a governor's office, and I've worked on Capitol Hill.
Okay. And where would you put your, I hate to drop models on people, moderate, progressive, or left or right, where do, if you're talking to a voter right now, which you are,
Yeah,
where would you say you are?
I am talking to a voter.
You are.
Mr.
I'm
Ward,
in your
President.
district, yes.
Pragmatic is where I'd put myself.
Okay.
Just recently, I'm not sure when this will air, but there was a story in the Boston Globe recently about Secretary Raimondo's work around the CHIPS bill,
Yep.
to bring semiconductor manufacturing back here and do a whole host of economic development for the country. And if you've read that story, it was all about the last line that she had was, you know, it's a roller coaster of a process trying to get big things done. But if you stick with it, in the end, you get there and you get it done. And the story also talked to how she talked to Republicans, and she talked to Democrats who maybe are more progressive than maybe perhaps she is. And that's the kind of leader that I think I am as well. It is about getting the job done and bringing everyone around the table. And I learned that too in my time in government. You know, if you want to do big things, you have to make sure you have everyone around the table hearing all of those perspectives, because that's what makes the best decisions going forward. And again, I can't say it enough. It is why I'm so excited to be the first Democratic woman elected to Congress from Rhode Island, to bring that perspective to a delegation that is already doing tremendous things for Rhode Island.
Okay. There's been some changes to gun control recently.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't gone all the way one side wanted, it hasn't stopped where one side wanted. So it seems to be in the press in the middle. Where do you feel we are now and need to go?
I think we need to do more for gun safety, and I think there's 3 areas that we need to look at. It's community, it's data, and it's policy. So on the community side, it's supporting organizations that are doing tremendous work in our neighborhoods right now, like your local Boys and Girls Club, for example, and supporting organizations like them that are helping to make our communities stronger. Number 2 is data. I was talking to a public health expert in this area, and she was telling me that when the time came to pass seatbelt laws, they used data to show that it saves lives. And now you wouldn't think about not putting your seatbelt on. So we need to continue to build out the data around where gun safety measures work.
Okay.
And lastly, it's the policy that you were just talking about. I do believe we need to have an assault weapons ban back in place, and banning high capacity magazines and raising the age limit on buying as a start.
Okay. And one of the big issues that has come and gone depending upon the administration is the border crisis. in Congress, you're going to have to take a look at that as well.
Yeah.
Um, Recently, some states have decided to start shipping immigrants to other states that are welcoming them, which is now becoming a problem for those states. It's a joint effort to fix. What are your
Yeah, I would
thoughts
push
on
back
how
a
we
little
get
bit
there?
on the it comes and it goes. It's always been there.
Right.
And since my time in working,
I mean, the media point of the media presence of, do we want to talk about it from a perspective of it's a problem, or do we want to talk about it as we're containing it, is what I mean, come and go.
yeah, it's something that we are long overdue to fix. Like gun safety, it is something that is long overdue. The gun safety is a uniquely American problem. The border, I think, falls into that category as well. And there are three things there too that we need to tackle, regardless of the administration. When I was working for Congressman Langevin, and we were in the minority then, we were talking about this just as much as we're talking about it today. And those three areas are border security, revamping our immigration system itself, and fixing our visa system as well. When I talk to employers, this often comes up on how the immigration system affects the economy and having a skilled workforce here to fill the jobs that we need now to keep our economy growing. So I think it's long past due in solving this problem, and that there are three ways that we need to tackle it, regardless of who's in control.
Okay. You mentioned data, so I'm going to throw a
Uh-oh.
figure at you. Since 2013,
Uh-huh.
Congressman Langevin has voted with House leadership over 95% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And for those scoring at home, David Cicilline is at 98%. In the last couple of years, they've been 100%. I'll give him COVID. There really weren't a lot of votes compared to normal years.
Mm.
So talk to the voters, and to me, this is an important question that brings me home.
Yeah.
Why do I need to send you to Congress when I can just push the vote with however party leadership says? What perspective do you bring that, not to be a contrarian from any perspective, but why is it important to send you?
Well, for all the reasons that we've just talked about, my unique set of qualifications and different perspective. When you have different opinions around a table, you get better solutions. So sending the first Democratic woman to Congress is important here. I think, I don't know what all of those votes were, but I know looking forward into what I think we need to do here is we still need to tackle access to affordable healthcare. We still need to make sure that we have the resources there for quality education. We do need paid permanent leave in this country. There are things that I don't think that they're uniquely Democratic or Republican. I think there are things that are good for everyone. And that's how I will, that's the lens that I will bring to everything that I look at. How is this good for everyone, in particular Rhode Islanders? But I also believe nationwide there are things we need to do in tackling healthcare, climate, education, and workforce development.
Love that. That's good. I like that.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate that.
So we're not going to let you go yet, but I do want to put a plug in for how can people reach out to your campaign?
The website, joyfoxcongress.com. Please go there. We are in, again, by the time this probably people see
Early
it,
September,
we're probably
late August, mid-August.
Yeah, we will probably be in the final weeks of the campaign,
Okay.
and we need all the help we can get.
I was
This
just
is
going to ask.
This was a grassroots campaign, so
Yep.
I was said earlier, if we want to change Washington and change how we solve these problems, then we need to change who we send there. And someone that grew up with a trust fund, I don't believe has the right qualifications or perspective to be able to get the job done. Our campaign is a grassroots effort. We are out there talking to voters every day. We need help doing that. So door knocking, phone banking, and just telling your friends. If you're listening to this right now and you're watching it on Facebook, can you hit the share button and say, "Hey, check Joy Fox out. I think we have a winner here."
I like that.
And please remember September 13th is, for everything that we just covered in our conversation, from gun safety to the border to climate to the economy, your voice and your vote matter. And it's important to exercise your vote and to go out and do that. So joyfoxcongress.com. You can fit my name on a license plate if you have trouble remembering what it is. 6 letters, really easy. And we're going to be out there and hopefully cross paths with many of your viewers.
Okay. So we usually do a tribute to the late James Lipton at the end of our interviews.
Okay.
So these are the hardest questions you're going to face.
They probably are.
You ready?
Sure.
This is your non-candidate head now. What's your favorite word?
Joy.
Okay. What sound or noise do you love?
That's interesting.
They
Yes.
get worse.
The birds in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could do something with zero chance of failure, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. With zero chance of failure. Sail around the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could go back and talk to your 12-year-old self and tell yourself something, what would it be?
To follow your gut, and trust your instinct, and when you're faced with making a big decision, bring as many people around the table to help you do that.
Like voting for Joy Fox?
Exactly.
Fits on a
Exactly.
license plate, fits in Congress.
Exactly. Exactly. Don't
You
lose
can-
hope. Send
Don't
joy.
steal that.
Don't lose hope. Send joy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.